right in the thick of it, County Road 224E. So if you are in Watson, if you are in Briggs, if you are in Ocala, if you are in Maxdale, all of these communities, you need to be in that safe spot sheltering from this tornado. Here's 183. To the north, it's 190 in Kempner. And here's where we have the tornado in progress from multiple storm spotters reporting that it is still ongoing. It might not be a good night to go out and hit the roads out in northeast Burnet County. I have a feeling there's going to be some pretty extensive damage based on earlier seeing some of the peak winds likely in that 100, close to 100 mile per hour range. So here's where the circulation is. There's Watson, here's Maxdale, and that's where the likely tornado still would be continuing on the ground as of last check, with considerable damage likely, hail up to 1 3/4 in diameter possible. This is kind of a crazy start to the month of May. May 1st, watching as a tornado is confirmed in northeast Burnet County on a day, mind you, when we were only anticipating large hail and high winds. It just shows you you cannot let your guard down. Tornado warning 183, Watson. This is northeast Burnet County. Here's Briggs. Sunny Lane is down to the southwest. To the north, we've got Kempner. To the east, we've got Maxdale. In the Ocala area, you are currently dealing with what was likely the tornado right through your community. We'll zoom in a little bit closer. So yeah, it's just to the west of what would be the downtown area of Ocala. We've got County Road 223 right here, Panther Creek Road right there, and continue to watch that circulation. So FM 2657. And the tornadic circulation has been very slow moving and very, very persistent. Now I will say the latest scan on radar, it seems maybe like it has weakened ever so slightly, which would be wonderful. We don't want this to continue to be a damaging tornado all the way through the rest of the evening. Yep, so I stopped it. This is the latest scan, and you can see that these pixels of bright green here and the bright red are not quite as vivid. The more vivid, the stronger, and the more muted, the weaker. So we're watching as the brightest echoes showing up on the latest scans from radar are not quite as intense. I'm going to go ahead and correlate this on my other radar source to see what kind of wind speeds we're looking like it's down to. Looking like the winds may be below 50 miles per hour now within the circulation here right at County Road 223, Panthers Creek Road right here, County Road 224W. So this still obviously rotation. There could still be a tornado, but it does not look like it is the wedge tornado that I saw earlier on social media. So hopefully we're seeing some improvement as far as that concerned. However, the tornado warning is still in effect. I'll take it back to the radar view just so you can see what the big picture looks like. We still have a pretty good, what we call appendage right here. Whenever you see these little scary things sticking out on the southern edge of a storm, that appendage is always something that is alarming. Earlier, there was a really well-defined hook echo. It doesn't look quite as impressive now, but right in here where we've been talking about the circulation, that continues to be the area of biggest concern for the possible tornado, or the confirmed tornado, I should say. All right, and then still keeping tabs also on far northeastern sections of Llano County. It looks like the storm has cleared you, and far northwestern sections of Burnet County, just on the north side of Lake Buchanan. This is a severe thunderstorm. Not seeing rotation with it. I am seeing potential for some hail so far with it, however. So still holding on to the tornado warning. Let's see if there are any new updates on this. I'm not seeing anything additional beyond what we've already told you, which is there's been a confirmed tornado reported by multiple storm spotters persistently on the ground. Right now, it's not looking as organized based on radar presentation. Here is Ocala, and it looks like it's finally starting to move after being nearly stationary for the better part of a half an hour. With that said, we still are dealing with the tornado warned circulation. So the National Weather Service that covers Lampasas County, Bell County, Coryell County to the north is saying that they are going to allow their portion of the tornado warning to expire in the next 5 minutes. Why is that? Because the tornadic circulation is now in Burnet County. So when you see this portion of the tornado warning expire, that doesn't pertain to us. We still, in our CBS Austin viewing area, are concerned about Burnet County. So that portion of the tornado warning will be cleared. This portion of the tornado warning, as I've seen so far, is expected to be continued. All right, so The latest chasers from live streams are reporting that the tornado is no longer a wedge, it is roping out. That is an indication that the tornado is weakening. So storm chasers now reporting that the tornado, which previously was a wedge, is starting to turn into a thinner rope. That means weakening. Hopefully that means that the tornado has just about run out of gas, but we're looking as it's now starting to nudge off to the south. So maybe I can finally do a storm track for you. I was hesitant to do it earlier because the storm literally was not moving. So we're now watching as the most likely area of circulation might be just along and to the south of the Ocala region. If you are in Briggs, this may be heading toward you. Again, a weaker storm than earlier, but not to say that it isn't still causing some damage. I'll go back to the velocity view so we can take a closer look at where the highest area of the circulation is. And it still looks like the main circulation is just going to be near where that arrow is that I'm pointing out. So where the arrow is, let's see, tornado is occluding on radar. Again, wrapping up, that's the indication that we're watching. So the radar returns are quite a bit lower. The highest winds appear to be weakening. This is what we want to see, folks. We do not want to see a long-lived, long-track tornado. So the fact that we're starting to hear confirmation from storm chasers that the storm is no longer exhibiting a wedge tornado and it's more of a rope, that's good news. And we're actually watching just within the last couple of minutes, it looks very, very much like the rotation has weakened within the circulation of the storm. Here's Ocala, FM 2657. Watson 183, so it's 4:56. The tornado warning for now is scheduled through at least 5 p.m. I'm waiting to see if the National Weather Service is going to extend it, and if so, for how long. And of course, we'll stay on with you to keep you updated if they do extend this tornado warning. But what I'm seeing currently on radar is actually looking quite a bit better. It appears to me, and probably to you as well, that we had those bright circulation and now it's really starting to weaken. So the areas of inbound velocity and outbound velocity have started to weaken considerably. And that's generally with a weakening trend as the tornado kind of ends its life cycle. At its peak, it's a big wedge. As it weakens, it ropes out. And typically after it ropes out, it lifts back up into the cloud. And that is the end of the lifespan of that particular tornado. So I hope that that's what we're seeing here on radar. There may still be some rotation at cloud level, but I'm waiting to see if there are reports that the actual tornado itself is still on the ground or whether it is no longer on the ground. Okay, National Weather Service says they no longer see the tornado on this live stream that a storm chaser was feeding to them. That means the tornado has likely roped out and has probably dissipated, lifted back up into the clouds. The National Weather Service says at 5 p.m. they are planning to expire this tornado warning, which is incredible news. So, watching live on CBS Austin right now, we have literally watched the lifespan of a tornado from what looked to be on radar, likely a tornado packing 100-mile-per-hour winds, to what is now quickly dissipating, things calming down a little bit. So we are currently at 4:57, and I could not be happier to say this tornado warning is going to expire in just about 3 minutes. With that said, there are some other storms and some other things that we will be tracking through the rest of this evening. So if you've been watching and you're saying, well, I don't live in Burnet County, I live in Travis County, or I'm in Williamson County, what about me? Well, let me show you where things stand elsewhere. We are currently dealing with very little in other parts of our viewing area. It's all quiet in Austin. It's hot, though. It was 92 degrees about an hour ago. I haven't checked to see what the temperature peaked as our high. Couple of lonely storms in Mason County, not a big deal. A severe thunderstorm warning for hail in northwest Burnet County, just on the north side of Lake Buchanan. A storm that's moving out of Milam County, it also severe, mainly for hail, but it looks like it's just hugging the far eastern edges of Milam County. And then we have the storm that did produce a confirmed tornado, which was on the ground for quite a while. The first warning came out across the area at about 4:15, give or take, and we've been on the air since that happened, following the lifespan of this tornado, which started out in Lampasas County and then worked its way southward into Burnet County. Storm chasers have been live streaming this on social media to share with people what's been going on. At one point, it looked like a wedge, then it weakened into a rope, and now we're getting confirmation that you can no longer see from the storm chaser video that a tornado or funnel cloud is on the ground, which is great news. So that's why the National Weather Service is planning to let this warning expire at 5 o'clock, which is in less than 1 minute. Just to give you an idea, we've got full coverage for you, not only in the severe weather situation, but all the news of the day, which is coming up on CBS Austin News. Walt Macaborski is sitting right next to her, standing right next to me, getting ready to go on. So still dealing with the tornado warning for 1 more minute. It does look like the worst is over with that regard, but what a night, what an evening, what an afternoon, I guess you could say. Watching as this storm is starting to finally track to the south, no longer tornadic. We've got severe thunderstorm warning now that has been extended from this storm. So the red box is the tornado warning, that's going to go away. We will have a severe thunderstorm warning that it replaces it, that does include Briggs as well as Florence. So there you go. Red box over, tornado warning has officially expired. I could not be more pleased to tell you that. Are we out of the woods? Not necessarily. We have to keep tabs on this because most of the computer models that I've been watching all through the day today had been suggesting that we would basically be dealing with big hailstorms as our main problem. Not only that, but although it looked like the storms would begin up toward the Killeen area, where there is now, by the way, a flash flood warning because so much rain has fallen, we're also watching as the storms are finally starting to make their southerly trudge into Williamson County. All right, thank you so much for joining us throughout this very busy evening where we've been watching that tornado warning, the confirmed tornado. It was a pretty impressive sight on radar, that's for sure.
The atmosphere was charging all afternoon. It was getting hot and muggy. The radar started popping. And, you know, it's severe weather season. We're right into it. Welcome to CBS Austin News at 5. Chicago has been on the air giving life-saving information as she's been tracking this tornado from the very spin-up to as it broke apart in northern Burnet County. How did it start? Wrap it up for us, and where are we heading through the rest of the night?
All right, so first things first, Walt, this started with a hailstorm up in the Killeen area, and we were expecting that it would remain potentially tennis ball, maybe baseball-sized hail. Started to get reports of hail as large as softball size up in the Killeen area, Coppers Cove area, 4.5 inches in diameter. That same storm started to show rotation, and it happened just like this.
And it moved so quickly, and then, you know, there were just little blips on the radar. Then it just started firing up everywhere.
Absolutely, and you could really see that hook echo appear on radar. Once it did, I was like, there is the rotation. I looked at those velocities, and I said, okay. When I was looking on radar, I was seeing some spots where it was showing 97-mile-per-hour winds potentially within the core of that rotation.
You know, there's so many people that are moving here from all over the U.S. and they're landing here. This was their first tornado warning and first tornado season. What do you suggest? I'm sure a lot of people are freaking out right now watching the television.
Yeah, so the biggest thing that I always tell people is have a plan, a safety plan, where you can go to that lowest level in an interior room. You don't want to be in a panic where you say, what do I do? Instead, you need to practice this ahead of time. So maybe this is a good chance while the tornado was going on in Burnet County today for you to gather your family up, find that plan, that safe room. In my house, it's the lowest level in our master bathroom. No windows near it. We pile on in there, and we've got a weather radio, we've got water, we've got weather radar so we can watch it. You know, just have a plan so you know where to go, and then when that emergency happens, you don't have to panic. Instead, you just go to that spot. And hopefully, stay tuned with the CBS Austin Weather app and us here on air.
Chicago has been nonstop for the last few hours now, so she's going to take a break. We're going to get to day of the news, and then we'll check back in with the forecast. Thanks a lot, Chicago.
You bet.
Big news with Donald Trump today. During the 100 days Donald Trump has been president, Texas has continued to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars for Governor Greg Abbott's migrant busing initiative. CBS Austin's Michael Atkinson learned exclusively today, and he joins us live from the Capitol tonight with information. Michael, that's only a fraction of what's been spent on this initiative as a whole.
Yeah, Walt, as a whole, it's closer to $229 million in total. Republican state leaders, including the governor, argued that this was a way to measure a stopgap for the Biden administration, where they argued it was a lapse in the federal government's response to the border. But we've learned that that has now continued on in the Trump administration. We put in a public records request for all documents related to invoices and payments made for the migrant busing services. And we found that since Donald Trump took office, 16 payments have been made totaling $434,000 in public money. Granted, Granted, as mentioned, that is just a fraction of the spending on the busing initiative as a whole, but it does show that this spending is continuing, even with a Republican in charge of U.S. border security.
Texas voters, and in particular Texas Republicans, have continuously expressed the opinion that the state could be spending more, not less, on immigration and border security. And so there's really no political incentive for anyone in the state to reduce any of the commitment that the state has already made to the border. In fact, there's a lot of incentive to actually increase it.
We did reach out to the governor's office ahead of this story. We did not hear back for comment. Coming up on CBS Austin Live at 6, we'll take a closer look at those numbers, including how Texans are actually on track to spend more on border security than ever before. Live outside the Texas State Capitol, Michael Atkinson, CBS Austin News.
Thank you, Michael. 4 University of Texas and Austin students are suing the school now. It's Board of Regents, former UT President Jay Hartzell, Governor Greg Abbott, and UTPD and DPS. And a little more than a year after they were arrested during pro-Palestine protests on campus. CBS Austin's Adela Uchida uncovered some of the protest information today. It happened last year, and the co-counsel for the plaintiff says, you know, this is going to be a battle. She's live for us tonight at UT. Adela, what's going on?
Yeah, the lawsuit centers on the protest on April 24th of last year. The 4 plaintiffs saying they were arrested and then faced academic discipline and retaliation for exercising their First Amendment rights. I talked to co-counsel today who says they're being targeted for supporting Palestine. This is the lawsuit filed by 4 current or former University of Texas students claiming their civil rights were violated when they were arrested during the pro-Palestine protest last spring.
The protest itself was